This is channel Xianxia Audio. Please support me like a subscription. This is the series The Devil Butler. Chapter 61, Heaven and Earth Shift. With everything in place, Zhuo Fan's party entered an idle period alongside Hell Valley's elder, waiting for the eruption of the diamond sand. For a while, everything was quiet and peaceful. Xie Tianyang was feeling bored standing guard every day and thought of training his martial arts. But his worries about the diamond sand erupting and Zhuo Fan hogging it won over that feeling in the end. Because he knew Zhuo Fan's mannerism but not his intention. And because he didn't understand Zhuo Fan either, he held some mistrust. While Shui Ningxiang seemed to have forgotten about the diamond sand and played with the burrowing mouse every day. Xie Tianyang tried to call the critter over. But the little guy gave him an eye roll, which only worked to embarrass him. It was his spirit animal, yet it was closer with Shui Ningxiang. So he switched targets to Zhuo Fan, watching him with a perplexed look. Zhuo Fan was a riddle. Be it his background or his origins, in no way would he believe Zhuo Fan's words of coming from a small clan. Among their group, Zhuo Fan was the calmest. Over the past 10 days all he did was meditate, as if he didn't care about the diamond sand at all, while in fact it also concerned him the most. Zhuo Fan, in Xie Tianyang's mind, was becoming more valued, with how rare such a character existed in the Tianyu Empire. At least he didn't have the state of mind to cultivate while waiting for the diamond sand like Zhuo Fan. Cultivating with his anxiety and restlessness would only cause a deviation, while Zhuo Fan. Xie Tianyang scrutinized Zhuo Fan, feeling envy. A sudden sound woke Zhuo Fan up. At last, the sixth layer of qi condensation. Xie Tianyang's cheek trembled and showed a resigned expression. To break through at such a crucial time, he would never reach Zhuo Fan's state of mind for years to come. This was how the trio spent the next month. Xie Tianyang was bored out of his mind. Shui Ningxiang and the critter played like crazy, sporting smiles every moment, while Zhuo Fan sat there in meditation. Rolling his eyes, Xie Tianyang was driven to the point of insanity. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have pushed the burrowing mouse that hard. The critter broke up with him so thoroughly that it wouldn't even come to relieve his boredom. Can't take it anymore, Xie Tianyang wailed. Then a sudden bang resounded across the mountain range and the ground started shaking. It's time. Zhuo Fan jumped to his feet. Shui Ningxiang, who was playing with the critter, was a bit startled and turned to Zhuo Fan and Xie Tianyang. But the two didn't look afraid, only excited. Hell Valley's seventh elder stationed at Golden Spring Pool flew higher. Ha ha ha, I have waited 2 months for this. Men, cast the nets to gather the diamond sand. The seventh elder roared and the bone tempering guards bowed. Understood. They then began throwing golden nets into the Golden Spring Pool until it was all shining golden. At the same time, at the stream, Zhuo Fan asked, "Did you prepare a net?" Ha ha ha, why would I come for diamond sand if I hadn't? Xie Tianyang laughed and cast his net. Diamond sand erupted along with lava and it needed special nets to filter it. Zhuo Fan also cast his own golden net into the stream. Xie Tianyang watched him doubtful. Brother Zhuo, what will you do now? Watch closely. Zhuo Fan smiled with confidence and his hand performed signs. Heaven and earth reverse, mountains and river switch, yin and yang shift, twin array exchange. The spirit stones laid underground shined ever brighter and each beam of light pierced the horizon. All around the Golden Spring Pool, 3,221 light pillars towered towards the sky. The seventh elder felt uneasy. But as Diamond Sand's eruption was imminent, he had no time to mind parlor tricks and fixed his eyes on the hot spring's mouth. Suddenly, a column of water sprouted from the spring, just that the heat from it was far lower. People were stunned seeing this. Reason dictated that along with the eruption of diamond sand, lava should flow out too. The hot spring's water would be so hot that not even a bone tempering expert should be able to approach. But why was there only plain water? Seventh elder blinked in a daze. Then face-palmed. Damn it, someone's playing us. He rushed higher in the air and saw thousands of light pillars in the distance. There. Seventh elder seethed in rage as he charged. You're dead if you think you can play me. Meanwhile, the stream before Zhuo Fan's party was gone, replaced by a dark hole that was soon spewing lava along with fine and shiny particles. Diamond sand. Xie Tianyang was overjoyed as he turned to Zhuo Fan in shock. "Brother Zhuo, you're great. How is the diamond sand erupting here?" Grinning, Zhuo Fan flatly said, "This array is called Heaven and Earth Shift. It is a mere first-grade array, but it can reverse yin and yang, shift mountains and rivers. I only switched diamond sand's flow to here." Zhuo Fan said it dully. But Xie Tianyang was shocked to the core. As far as he knew, only 6th grade and above arrays could do that, and they were all lost. But Zhuo Fan not only did it but used just a first-grade array in the process. He started to recall Zhuo Fan mentioning Veiled Dragon Pavilion's alliance agreement. It might not be far-fetched for Veiled Dragon Pavilion to make such an agreement if they knew of Brother Zhou's outrageous talent. Xie Tianyang watched Zhuo Fan closely with a secret smile. He didn't think he'd meet such a man when he decided to get the diamond sand. There may not be a second person in the empire who can set this array. Xie Tianyang then spoke. "Brother Zhou, would you like to come into Sword Marquis's abode as a venerable?" Shui Ningxiang was tongue-tied. Zhuo Fan was so young yet he'd get to be a venerable in one of the 7 houses. Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes and almost made Shui Ningxiang stumble with his next words. "Save it. Veiled Dragon Pavilion tried it already and I refused them all the same. That's why they changed to having an alliance agreement." "Brother Zhou, you're showing off here." Shui Ningxiang clearly doubted his words. But Xie Tianyang nodded and said, "All right, I will send someone with an alliance agreement when I get back." "Where do I send it?" "Windgaze City's Luo clan. I will return when I am finished with my affairs." Xie Tianyang hesitated. "Then I will wait for your return. I want to sign it with you. With your skills. When you leave the Luo clan in the future, we won't lose out then." Zhuo Fan shook his head. "Why are all 7 houses the same?" Shui Ningxiang gasped as her face twitched. "Sword Marquis's abode is so unruly. Why would they want to sign an agreement with an outsider? And it wasn't with a clan, but with a single man." But what escaped her thoughts was that precisely because Xie Tianyang was from the 7 houses that he valued Zhuo Fan so much. The average clan would never see Zhuo Fan's value. At this time, the dark cave let out a final eruption of lava. Seeing this, Zhuo Fan urged, "Get the nets." "Why the hurry?" Xie Tianyang waved and continued with a smile. "The nets are made of spirit metal. They won't break in lava." Zhuo Fan snorted. "You think I don't know that? If we don't go now, we may not have a life to enjoy it." Xie Tianyang was startled as Zhuo Fan continued. "You think all elders from Hell Valley are blind? Who wouldn't notice the light pillars? Just wait, and you will have a profound heaven expert hovering overhead." Xie Tianyang rushed in with his hand signs to recover the net. As the nets rose, the trio saw the glitters among the lava, and on the net's threads was shining sand. "What do we do now?" Xie Tianyang was happy seeing the net but was aware of the imminent danger. Zhuo Fan dragged them for 12 hours to this place for a reason most obvious to buy time. Even a profound heaven expert would need 2 hours to reach here. During this time, they could retrieve the diamond sand and leave. But where to run was the question. Where was safe? Noticing Zhuo Fan gazing at the stream's opposite bank, the pair shouted, "The second area?" "Wrong," Zhuo Fan said dryly. "The third area." Gasping, the two stared at Zhuo Fan in a daze. "Is this guy crazy? The second area is dangerous enough. But going to the third is suicide." But they both were oblivious to the fact that Zhuo Fan's aim from the start was in that area. 6th level Spiritual Beast, Thunder Skylark. Chapter 62, Chase. "We'll divide the diamond sand first then flee." Zhuo Fan was getting eager to get his share of the spoils when he saw the glittering dust and gave the two the cold shoulder. Shui Ningxiang and Xie Tianyang smiled bitterly. Ever since they ran into Zhuo Fan, they were led by the nose. Zhuo Fan did whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. The same went for abusing the critter and setting an array to steal all the diamond sand. But all turned out fine in the end. Everything he did was flawless and brought success. So, despite Zhuo Fan making no sense, which added to their worry, The two believed he had a failsafe in place. So Xie Tianyang dropped the issue and was excited by all the glittering dust before him. Whoosh! The dust flowed like water out of the net and filled a 1-meter-tall bucket, and that was just a third. So everyone started taking out any containers they had from their rings. And the coveted diamond sand soon filled vessels of all shapes and sizes. Seeing such a haul, Xie Tianyang was smiling in excitement. At first, he hoped to use the burrowing mouse to get a bit of diamond sand, and now, with a weirdo like Zhuo Fan around, they got everything in no time at all. In refining a 5th-grade spiritual weapon, a handful of diamond sand was enough to raise its power, making it a top 5th-grade spiritual weapon. But with heaps of diamond sand, who knew how many such weapons could be made? And he could even add as much dust as he wanted in the refining process. When refining, people would add a gram, fuse it well, then add another gram, thereby increasing the amount of diamond sand progressively. With this much yield, it's even possible to make a pure diamond sand spiritual weapon. Ha ha ha. Xie Tianyang started laughing, despite his high position in Sword Marquis's abode and not being poor in the least. Compared to the diamond sand before him, it was no different than being a beggar. Zhuo Fan saw Xie Tianyang laugh. His eyes flashed as he turned back to the glittering sand with a smirk. Sword Marquis's abode's disciples are ignorant of the world outside. Zhuo Fan then stashed half of the sand into his ring while he spoke in a flat tone. This is my share and the rest is yours. Xie Tianyang blinked, then smiled. No worries, it's fine if you take a bit more. They had struck it rich this time. So, even with Zhuo Fan taking half, it was more than enough for the other two. But in the end, this wealth was divided in two, with Shui Ningxiang having no interest in it. Compared to having such a precious item, she'd rather get out of Blue Expanse City. Zhuo Fan only took his share, leaving hers untouched. Xie Tianyang secretly nodded and took the rest of the diamond sand, and asked Zhuo Fan, "How do we escape now?" Whoosh! Zhuo Fan's hand held a small bottle and took 3 red pills out. He ate one and gave the rest to the two. This is a 1st-grade pill. Energy concealing pill. It can hide our auras for a whole day and let us pass through the 2nd area while not attracting spiritual beasts. Xie Tianyang looked at the pill with amazement. That's great. Where did you get it? Allbeast Mountain Range was a treasure trove that had the continent's cultivators drooling over for thousands of years. Too bad the spiritual beasts were a bit savage and kept the cultivators at bay. If they knew such a pill existed, they'd be fighting over it. Moreover, it was just a 1st-grade pill. As far as Xie Tianyang knew, the continent didn't have such a pill. Or wouldn't the cultivators be flocking here by now? Shui Ningxiang was also amazed. Zhuo Fan scratched his nose. I made it. It is unique to me. Xie Tianyang shouted, "You're a freaking alchemist too?" Perhaps he was a bit too amazing that Xie Tianyang even had to resort to curses. But Zhuo Fan couldn't care less, which was evident from his shrug. Yep, the more skills the better. The shock got to Xie Tianyang so badly that his cheek was twitching. Who the hell is this punk? He's a chi condensation cultivator, yet can match me, a bone-tempering cultivator, and now he's an alchemist too? Not only that, but he also sets up a lost array and refines unprecedented pills. Until now he thought that he had met a paragon like himself. Just another strong opponent like the few geniuses he found his match in the 7 houses. But Zhuo Fan, revealing that he was also an alchemist, gave Xie Tianyang's psyche a heavy blow. Next time around, he'd never say that he was a genius. At least not when Zhuo Fan was present. Xie Tianyang swallowed the pill and jumped across the stream and into the 2nd area. Let's go. Zhuo Fan and Shui Ningxiang were startled. What's up with him? They didn't know that this proud and conceited genius had just fallen from Cloud 9 all the way down into the mortal quagmire. 2 hours later, a gray figure landed next to the stream. It was the 7th elder. His face was red with rage when he saw the steaming lava. And his hawk eyes flashed with killing intent. Someone pulled the diamond sand here. Squinting, the 7th elder huffed a few times then calmed down. But the coldness on his face grew thicker. He looked around and muttered. They just got the diamond sand and shouldn't have run far. If they stayed in the first area, death was only a matter of time. Then, the seventh elder turned to the opposite bank with a sneer. Think you can get rid of me with parlor tricks? Then he soared into the second area. 100 miles out, Zhuo Fan's party was running when a sudden cawing came from behind, followed by crows taking to the sky. Zhuo Fan stopped and looked back with a frown. What? Xie Tianyang and Shui Ningxiang also stopped. What's going on? Zhuo Fan muttered. That elder is charging right into the second area. What? Xie Tianyang was anxious. What now? He will catch up in no time. Zhuo Fan sighed. I don't know. I thought that the elder would first search the first area after inspecting the lava. Just to be sure. Thus, buying us enough time. Moreover, the second area is notoriously dangerous. So I guessed he wouldn't come here to search so soon. That is why I picked this area to flee. And by the time he'd figure it out, we'd have a 6-hour lead. And for his safety in the second area, he'd be flying far slower to avoid 4th level spiritual beasts. At that point, we'd be in the third area and he'd ultimately give up the chase. In that area, he will be in the same boat as us. Food for the spiritual beasts. So he'd never go in after us. Zhuo Fan squinted, yet he went for the second area from the start. In this case, we only have 1 hour lead. If he catches up to us here, we're dead. Brother Zhou, haven't you heard of the seventh elder and what he is famous for? Xie Tianyang asked. Zhuo Fan was startled. I only knew that a Hell Valley's elder was stationed here, but not the details. Sighing, Xie Tianyang shook his head. Know your enemy and yourself and you shall win 100 battles. It's normal for you to make a mistake when you don't even know how dreadful the seventh elder is. Dreadful? Zhuo Fan frowned. Xie Tianyang said in a severe tone. He is greatly admired in Hell Valley, and even Valley Lord Yuanshan consults with him. Or he wouldn't have left such an important city in the seventh elder's charge. You're saying he's strong? Zhuo Fan's brow twitched. Xie Tianyang shook his head. Not his strength, but his schemes. He is cunning and deceitful. Known as the insidious demon. His mind is filled with schemes. Many elders of the 7 houses have fallen in his ploys. Even Veiled Dragon Pavilion's elder Zhu lost his purple lightning gold eye because of the 7th elder's plot. Many hate him to the bone, but even more fear him. No wonder Zhuo Fan's plan fell through. He is another who plays open schemes. This kind of plot is useless against him. But the die was cast and Zhuo Fan's only choice was to beat him at his own game. Brother Zhou, our only choice is to leave Lady Ninger behind. With our speed, we may be able to escape the 7th elder's clutches. Xie Tianyang's eyes flashed as he spoke firmly. Shui Ningxiang shuddered and grabbed Zhuo Fan's arm with a pitiful look. Brother Zhou, you promised to get me out. Brother Zhou, this is not the time to be soft. Leave her behind. She will stall the 7th elder while we escape. Xie Tianyang's mind was set. Zhuo Fan squinted as he contemplated, then sneered at Xie Tianyang. Humph, if not for my energy-concealing pill, you'd have thrown me away too. Xie Tianyang's mouth pursed. Zhuo Fan laughed it off and said, I won't abandon anyone. As for that elder, I have my way to deal with him. I will fight him right here. With an array. Xie Tianyang nodded after a careful ponder. He knew of Zhuo Fan's skills in arrays and was certain that Zhuo Fan was an array grandmaster. Shui Ningxiang was beaming as she heard him and was swinging Zhuo Fan's arm on and on with a red tint on her cheeks. But they both failed to notice Zhuo Fan's odd smile at the end. Chapter 63, Thunderflame Gale Array. Whoosh! Beneath the shade of the forest, a gray figure flitted by. The moment a spiritual beast saw him, it would jump on him with greedy eyes. But the beast would ultimately fall to the ground lifeless with an extra fist imprint on its chest. The 7th elder's eyes turned darker, but his speed remained the same. Unlike Zhuo Fan, his flight attracted no little amount of trouble. Yet this only left a trail of 3rd-level spiritual beasts' corpses behind. He was lucky enough that he did not meet a 4th-level spiritual beast. Or it would have been a slightly different outcome. Whoosh! Suddenly, he landed in an open area. He checked for tracks, making sure nothing escaped his sight. He. 3 little brats. Want to run? The seventh elder sneered. He stood upright and scrutinized his surroundings with a cold eye. Will you come out yourselves? Or shall I drag you out? His yell bathed the trees in killing intent and scared off nearby spiritual beasts. Ha ha ha. I see the seventh elder is not without his reputation. No wonder you are called insidious demon. Finding how many we are just from a few faint signs. I am in awe. Zhuo Fan's laughter resounded through the air. The seventh elder frowned and paid closer attention. Kid, you have just entered the sixth layer of qi condensation. Good ears. The hidden Zhuo Fan felt his heart go cold. This elder was shrewder than he'd thought. A hard opponent, but he still kept his cool. Seventh elder must be tired after such a long chase. And fighting here will attract fourth-level spiritual beasts. It will be quite an annoyance to you. What if we strike a deal? Which is? The seventh elder snorted and his cold eyes flitted around the area. Zhuo Fan smiled. Seventh elder chased us for so long, all for the diamond sand. If we give you half, are you willing to let us go? You must be joking. The diamond sand was mine to begin with. You want to bargain with what you stole from me? The seventh elder laughed while being shrouded in thick killing intent. I will not only get my diamond sand but wring the life out of you brats. Then the elder rushed towards a lush tree. He struck it with his palm and made it explode, to reveal Zhuo Fan sitting on the rock behind it. He. Brat, you knew of my sharp hearing yet still talked about conditions with me. The seventh elder went for another palm attack, this time targeting Zhuo Fan. But the latter was calm as ever. He even smiled. He. I've never been afraid of revealing myself from the start. Zhuo Fan's hand shifted in. Boom. With a loud noise, from behind Zhuo Fan, a towering flame rose 50 meters high. And with a bird cry, it took the shape of a phoenix. It spread its wings and launched 2 fire pillars at seventh elder. Array? The elder was startled as he didn't foresee the weak brat would know about arrays. From the look of its power, it had to be in 5th grade. No longer careless, he struck the pillars with his palms. Boom! Raging flames exploded and the elder was thrown back with burned palms. Looking up, the elder's carefree eyes from before sported a hint of severity now. I took you lightly. The seventh elder squinted, never imagining a 6th layer of qi condensation youth was a 5th grade array master. Too bad it won't be enough to beat me. The seventh elder soared and made a sign. A fiendish demonic shadow rose behind him from the twisting black tendrils of energy. Wails echoed around him and made the temperature drop. Zhuo Fan's eyes squinted and his tone lowered. Such a malevolent demonic method. Is this from Hell Valley's inheritance? He. Why do the dead need to know so much? The seventh elder cackled and pointed. The demonic shadow rushed at Zhuo Fan with a shriek. Zhuo Fan responded with a hand sign. The fire phoenix cried and spat flames. Bam! Flames and shadow collided in an anticlimactic way. When the fire touched the demon, hissing was heard as if it was met with ice. The seventh elder looked proud of this while Zhuo Fan squinted. Ninger, now! A faint cry echoed and from another side not far from Zhuo Fan. A fierce gale hammered through the woods and exposed Shui Ningxiang sitting on a stone. At Zhuo Fan's call, she made the hand signs he had taught her. A chilling wind picked up and flew like a blade as it fused into the fire phoenix's attack. The fire pillar expanded 10 times in a blink and started pushing back the demonic shadow. The seventh elder's face turned grave and made hand signs to strengthen the demonic shadow. But with the help of Shui Ningxiang, Zhuo Fan was getting the upper hand and the seventh elder started sweating. He never saw it coming. Another person was controlling the array. But before he could think of a countermeasure, Zhuo Fan shouted again. Xie Tianyang, he's yours. Ha ha ha, I was waiting for this. See how I splatter the brains of a profound heaven expert. Under Xie Tianyang's incessant cackling, lightning burst and revealed him sitting on the other side of Zhuo Fan and across from Shui Ningxiang. Xie Tianyang made a hand sign and launched a 50-meter-long lightning dragon. With a roar, it flashed right into the demonic shadow. Boom! As lightning entered the shadow, it triggered an explosion. The demonic shadow could not overcome the multiple increases in power and was blown into black pieces. soon becoming nothing but ash. The seventh elder spat blood. This defied all logic. Today, 3 brats hurt him, but the brats were far from done and battered him with the thunder flame gale again. If he didn't do something now, he'd be heavily wounded. He may even die. The seventh elder braced himself and waved the centipede-like chain that suddenly appeared in his hand. Boom! The thunder flame gale attack was blown away as the elder took a few steps back. Zhuo Fan's side also shivered as each of them felt blood stagnating in their chest. It was a tie. 4th grade demonic treasure? Zhuo Fan turned serious. The seventh elder gasped and barked. Good, well done. I've traveled the world for so long, but today, 3 brats have reduced me to this state. He turned to Zhuo Fan. I admit you're strong. If we continue, it will end with both sides dead. It's better to take your previous deal. Give me half of the diamond sand and I will go. The 3 exchanged glances. Shui Ningxiang and Xie Tianyang didn't want to offend Hell Valley and nodded. Zhuo Fan showed an amiable smile. All right, let's make the deal. He then jumped off the stone. The seventh elder took back his weapon and flew towards Zhuo Fan. When they were 10 meters apart, suddenly both their eyes flashed with murderous intent. Die, brat! Finish him! Shouting at the same time, the seventh elder revealed his demonic treasure and flung it at Zhuo Fan while the latter made hand signs. The flames and the centipede chain clashed. Xie Tianyang and Shui Ningxiang were startled. Even though they missed the first clash, they soon sent lightning and windblade toward the elder. The seventh elder couldn't dodge and had to destroy their attacks with his chain once again. But he was also forced to retreat to the skies. Eyeing Zhuo Fan, the elder's face turned green and white from rage. Bastard, who would believe you? He. Takes a demonic cultivator to know one. Zhuo Fan smirked. Shui Ningxiang and Xie Tianyang witnessed this in a daze. Who the hell are they? One is more despicable than the other. Neither of them is worth trusting. Both of them had only one thought since the beginning: kill. They're too damn vile, treacherous, insidious. Had one of them trusted the other, then their side would have died by now. This thought made the 2 gasp and their eyes darted at Zhuo Fan. Thank God we have one just as vile and insidious among us. Or we'd be dead for sure. Chapter 64. Bait. I need to calm down first. The seventh elder took a deep breath and inspected the area with wrinkled brows. He found that the recovery of the diamond sand was becoming a headache. And when he knew the trio ran into the second area, he confirmed it. With his experience, he could easily discover their meager cultivation, and with the highest among them being the 7th layer of bone tempering stage. It was no different than squeezing 3 insects. What was unbelievable, though, was that one of them had a deep knowledge of arrays along with a cunning mind. Unlike a rash and ignorant youth he posed to be. This led to the current predicament. With the 3 working together to control the array, he would never get the upper hand. However, he thought of something and his hawk eyes flashed sinisterly. You are Shui clan's 3rd young miss. The 7th elder ignored Zhuo Fan and switched targets, sizing up Shui Ningxiang with a smile. I remember seeing you 5 years ago. You were just a child back then. My, how you've grown into a fine lady. Shui Ningxiang's heart seized and lowered her head to avoid his piercing gaze. Zhuo Fan shouted, 7th elder, if you have something to say it to my face. Don't go around scaring girls. Yet the 7th elder's eyes never left Shui Ningxiang. Ninger, why do you bother going against me? Shui clan is a vassal of Hell Valley. We always took care of your Shui clan. And yet here you are, resorting to this. His eyes flashed with murder as he spoke. Shui Ningxiang shivered and could no longer keep the hand sign up. Zhuo Fan knew that the 7th elder was threatening Shui Ningxiang and rushed to say, attack. He and Xie Tianyang synced their hand signs, launching lightning and fire at the 7th elder. But Shui Ningxiang was still in a daze, her hands trembling. Xie Tianyang thought, damn, Shui Ningxiang is worried for her clan and has no will to fight. Without the wind's help, there'll be a sharp decline in power. The 7th elder was fighting a psychological battle, grasping the trio's weakness. Fire and lightning combined as it neared the elder, but his centipede chain just flew at it and the attack was nulled. The seventh elder stood still in the sky while Zhuo Fan and Xie Tianyang spat blood. Ha ha ha, that's better. The seventh elder cackled. Ninger, you made the right choice. These brats will wash their hands over this and leave from here, while your clan will stay forever. Zhuo Fan looked at the shivering Shui Ningxiang and urged, Ninger, don't listen to the old goat. He knows who you are and will destroy your clan either way. The only way to save the Shui clan is to kill him here and now. Remember my words. The Thunder Flame Gale array needs 3 people to work together, and as long as the 3 are in sync, not even a profound heaven expert can escape. Another shiver racked Shui Ningxiang's frail body, and now she stood still. The seventh elder's words scared her, but she had finally recovered. Zhuo Fan smirked and shouted, if this old coot lives, your clan is no more. Boom. His words echoed in her ears, and Shui Ningxiang rose her head to show killing intent for the first time as she muttered non-stop. He can't leave. He has to die. He must die. Shui Ningxiang roared the last word and completed the hand sign. A green panther roared behind her and sped towards the seventh elder. 10 times stronger than before. The elder panicked, noticing the true power of the array in Shui Ningxiang's hands. From the start, the 2 brats used all they had in fighting me. Yet she hadn't? Shui Ningxiang was a kind and gentle soul, not willing to kill even her enemy. But the seventh elder's words struck a chord in her frail heart that she was close to losing its will for fighting. It was then that Zhuo Fan woke her up and lit a fire in her. The dissonance in her heart led to unleashing her full power. To protect her clan, Shui Ningxiang turned cold and unfeeling like a reaper. She was willing to do anything and everything to make sure the old geezer died here. Zhuo Fan and Xie Tianyang smiled and launched their own attacks. Fire, wind, and lightning combined at their strongest into an overpowering strike that threatened to consume the seventh elder. Even the calm and collected seventh elder was starting to feel fear. He hastily lifted the centipede chain and lashed. Boom! A huge explosion shook the entire second area, and even the sky seemed to collapse. Some 4th-level spiritual beasts even fled. The seventh elder, who was caught in the middle, was blasted a dozen meters with his hair and beard singed as he spat blood. But this time, the blood evaporated before it touched the ground. It was proof of the intensity of the attack that pierced his inner organs. With such a heavy wound, just one more and he'd be done for. For the first time, the seventh elder panted with fear in his eyes. Not even he could foresee that the array needed just the girl to flip out for unleashing its full power. But he understood that he would not be able to take more of such attacks. He's on his last leg. Ninger, Xie Tianyang, get ready, we'll finish him off. Zhuo Fan laughed as he made another hand sign. But a sudden green panther beat him and Xie Tianyang to the punch. All Zhuo Fan saw was Shui Ningxiang going crazy and making signs on and on as she raved. He has to die. He must die. Damn, this girl has lost it. I managed to spur her on. But now she is too far gone. Her only thought is to kill the old goat, even disregarding cooperation with her allies. Her action was limiting the array's power. The seventh elder noticed this weakness and smiled as he charged for Shui Ningxiang. He was only facing a wind panther, and without the other 2 elements, he could breeze through it. With a swing of the centipede chain, the panther was no more. Quickly help Ninger. Zhuo Fan panicked as he formed hand signs alongside Xie Tianyang. Once again lightning and fire came at the seventh elder. Yet such lack of cooperation lost the array's advantage, and the seventh elder dealt with it easily. He flung the centipede chain, removing this nuisance, and appeared before Shui Ningxiang. But she sank in, making hand signs. The seventh elder snorted and clutched her neck, lifting her off the ground. Shui Ningxiang began suffocating and her hands slowed down. Crazy girl, you almost had me killed. Consider yourself lucky since you still have some use, or I'd have killed you already. Ninger. Zhuo Fan and Xie Tianyang stood up with worry. The seventh elder mocked them. What are you brats called anyway? Sit tight, I will deal with you in a moment. Zhuo Fan clenched his fists. Cough, cough, cough. Shui Ningxiang coughed, looking at Zhuo Fan with pleading eyes. Kill him, don't let him harm my father. He. What a caring daughter. You're still thinking about your father? Too bad these two brats have no way of killing me. Once I get back, I'll make sure to wipe out the Shui clan for good. Tears glistened down Shui Ningzhang's cheeks. Xie Tianyang's heart hurt and roared in anger. Hell Valley Elder, does one of your stature even know what shame is to raise your hand on a defenseless girl? He. There's no such thing as shame in a demonic cultivator's vocabulary. The seventh elder cackled and turned to Zhuo Fan. Brat, you're just like this old man, stirring this girl's will to fight with a few words. I would have taken you as my disciple if not for us being enemies. You hurt my friend, so you must die by my hands. Zhuo Fan's tone was irreproachable. Xie Tianyang, get ready to strike. But Ninger also agreed. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed with a hard look. Xie Tianyang felt cold as he looked at Zhuo Fan, then saw the pleading eyes of Shui Ningxiang and sighed. This old man must die, or he will slaughter the Shui clan and Ninger won't ever find peace, even in death. Xie Tianyang then yelled as he made hand signs. The lightning dragon roared as it encroached on the seventh elder. Zhuo Fan, with his red eyes, also shouted and the phoenix behind him spread its wings. This was the strongest power they managed to unleash through their cooperation. But to all this, the seventh elder's answer was disdain. Humph, I have already figured out this array. Without wind, just you two or nothing. Xie Tianyang gnashed his teeth. Would our full power attack amount to nothing? Would we meet our end at his hands? Furthermore, Ninger's clan would be doomed. But Zhuo Fan revealed an evil grin. Who said we lacked wind? His hands shifted through the signs and the seventh elder was swallowed by a tornado, turning his immediate surrounding into a wind prison. Then came the lightning dragon and fire phoenix. Boom! Fire and lightning mixed, erupting in a spectacular fashion on contact with the tornado, burning everything within into nothing. This display of power was twice as strong as their best attack. This time the elder should be dead. Xie Tianyang watched it all at a loss. What? How the wind appeared? Zhuo Fan smiled. Unlike someone who just lost a friend. I told you before that I can't control the 5th grade array by myself and need all three of us to work together. Right? Well, I lied. That 7th elder would have seen through you and I couldn't have deceived him in the end. What? All was a lie? Xie Tianyang stammered. Zhuo Fan smiled. Insidious demon is beyond sharp. He is Hell Valley's sage. If I fight him alone, defeat is certain. So I arranged for you two to work with me in controlling the array and help conserve power. But this wasn't without its weakness. S3 had to be in full cooperation to unleash its greatest power. Him being the insidious demon, he would find this out with ease and would target the weakest among us. It's clear Ninger is that person and he would attack her. But he would have never guessed Ninger was the bait I laid out for him. So, he fell right into my trap. Why, you're saying that you had planned on giving up on Ninger from the start? Xie Tianyang gasped. Zhuo Fan felt like a stranger to him. He still recalled how Zhuo Fan yelled at Ninger. I won't leave anyone behind, his eyes filled with righteousness. Was it all an act? What's with that look? Zhuo Fan sneered. Didn't you say to leave Ninger behind and flee? That she was a burden? I only thought of a more appropriate use of this burden. What of your promise to her? Xie Tianyang swallowed dryly. I heard you promised Ninger to take her outside the city. Zhuo Fan waved it off. The result's the same, be it living or otherwise. Seeing Zhuo Fan's casual manner, Xie Tianyang felt numb and a chill crawled up his spine. After working together for over a month, he had thought that he somewhat understood Zhuo Fan's character. But now it felt like he was talking to a stranger. Such sheer cruelty made him, a 7th layer of bone-tempering expert, feel more fear than facing a radiant stage expert. But laughter came from amidst the thunder flame gale prison. Chapter 65, Insidious Demon. Ha ha ha. Kid, you're just like me, selfish, cruel, heartless, and won't even hesitate to use your own men. Even I'm feeling a bit afraid of you. Boom. The thunder flame gale prison blew away with a loud noise to reveal the sinister, smiling 7th elder, yet now he held another centipede chain in his hand, this one black. The two chains formed a helix around him, sparing his life from the dreadful attack. But even so, His body was littered with burn marks, and one could even see the bone in some places as blood seeped out. It was obvious that he survived because of these chains. And that too against the true power of the Thunder Flame Gale array. After spitting some burning blood, the seventh elder gasped, but his wicked eyes never left Zhuo Fan for a moment. "Kid, I have always been quick to pick up on things related to my enemies everywhere I went. But today you almost had me killed. I have to admit, I never met such a dreadful brat in my life." Zhuo Fan looked over to see Shui Ningxiang unconscious at his feet. But she wasn't dead. Perhaps the chain helix protected her the same way it protected the elder. But it wasn't like Zhuo Fan cared if she lived or died. He just kept staring at the black centipede chain. "You have another 4th grade demonic treasure?" He. I used to have only one." The seventh elder joined the 2 centipede chains together to form a black and white chain. "This 4th grade demonic treasure. Yin-yang chains are of one body. I usually attack with the yang chain and use the yin chain to kill my enemy at the right time. But to save myself today, you forced me to reveal my yin chain. You should be proud of that. Even profound heaven experts only figure out the truth at the moment of their deaths." Zhuo Fan gnashed his teeth. "The insidious demon title fits you like a glove. You were willing to suffer a heavy wound just to keep this move hidden." But of course. The 7th elder coughed blood twice, but his face still retained the sinister smile. "With how the world is filled with lies and schemes, I prefer to keep my strongest move hidden. That is why my ploys always succeed while the ones against me fail. But today is the exception." The 7th elder's eyes flashed and threw the yang chain at Zhuo Fan and the yin chain at Xie Tianyang as he roared. "Too bad you're out of tricks and can't beat me." "I beg to differ." Zhuo Fan smirked and made a hand sign, making a bloody light fly out of Shui Ningxiang towards the 7th elder. The elder was seriously hurt and the chains were far away. Zhuo Fan watched him like a hawk just to find out if he also had a defensive demonic treasure. This way he could put Blood Infant to good use. In his sorry state, if Blood Infant was to get inside the 7th elder, he'd be refined without even a means to resist. This was Zhuo Fan's true killing move. Even the Thunder Flame Gale prison was only used as bait to reveal all the elder's cards. Zhuo Fan refused to believe a man with the insidious demon fame had no hidden means to save himself. Demonic creature. On the other hand, the 7th elder was startled by the bloody light. He now figured out what Zhuo Fan really intended when he said Shui Ningxiang was the bait. It wasn't just to trap him in the Thunder Flame Gale prison but to also hide a killing move. With how close he was to her, he had no way of dodging. Insidious demon had to admire Zhuo Fan's cunning mind for beating him at every turn. Zhuo Fan was expectant of victory as he smiled. "It's over, 7th elder. This fight is my win." Suddenly, the 7th elder's yang chain pierced through Zhuo Fan's chest. He felt his heart being crushed. A large hole was left behind on his body, with pieces of his heart here and there. "This is impossible." Zhuo Fan was confident that the Blood Infant would gain control of the 7th elder once it entered him, also stopping the yang chain's attack. But the truth was, the chain never stopped. Zhuo Fan even felt his organs withering and seeping life force. This wasn't caused by the chain, but by Blood Infant's injury. Puking blood, Zhuo Fan watched in shock as Blood Infant hung behind the 7th elder. A flash of silver revealed a needle impaling Blood Infant's chest. 3rd grade demonic treasure, twisted needle. The 7th elder sneered at Zhuo Fan and pulled back the twisted needle into his elbow. Blood Infant collapsed and Zhuo Fan fell to his knees. His eyes were filled with dread. He couldn't believe he just lost. Bam! A sound was heard from the side. Xie Tianyang struggled for his life, but the yin chain lashed over his chest and he was now spitting blood. It was thanks to his spiritual armor that he was still breathing. Ignoring the rest, the 7th elder walked to Zhuo Fan calmly. "Kid, I am known as the insidious demon. How can anyone outsmart me?" The 7th elder watched the dying Zhuo Fan. "You're good, real good. Your schemes even make me feel fear. In a decade or two, you will become an outstanding demonic cultivator. Not even the #1 sage in Tianyu can compare to you. A pity you won't live so long. Because I am afraid of what you'll become. You are the first to ever make me feel this way." He was about to land the finishing blow. "You might die at my hand, but do not feel bad. Our cunningness is about the same, but I am stronger. In front of true power, all tricks, all methods are moot." Quote. The seventh elder's palm came from above and Zhuo Fan could even hear the whistling wind. He didn't want to die, but he had nothing left to fight with. A loss was a loss, be it in power or cunningness, and the one to lose died, but he had so many things he wanted to do. So what? The loser never had a choice to begin with. Closing his eyes, Zhuo Fan took one last breath and blacked out. Roar. A sudden roar shook the entire All-Beast mountain range and the seventh elder's palm stopped an inch above Zhuo Fan's head. Along with the roar, a wave of flames came to engulf everything. It swallowed trees and left empty husks behind. The seventh elder was startled. Looking towards the third area, he said with uncertainty, "Why is this monster coming to the second area?" Taking another look at the hopeless trio, he gnashed his teeth and fled, even disregarding the diamond sand. A bird cry soon followed and the skies darkened. A huge bird wing trailed above, overshadowing the earth. The spiritual beasts shivered in their caves. The huge bird's wings burned blue, and each flap sent sparks everywhere. Wherever the sparks landed, flames torched all of it into nothing. The previously lush forest was now reduced to ash after the bird passed. Not even bones were left of the fourth-level spiritual beasts touched by the flames. The huge bird flew for a while then left, but the forest beneath it was no more. Zhuo Fan and the other two were lying unconscious among the ashes. Some spiritual beasts passed by but finding them dead, they left. In fact, it was thanks to the energy-concealing pill that hid their auras. Cough, cough, cough. With a light cough, Shui Ningxiang strained her eyes open. But shock swept her heart. Why is the forest gone and only ash remained? The seventh elder couldn't have done this. She looked around in haste for Zhuo Fan and Xie Tianyang and saw them lying unconscious. Zhuo Fan had the most critical injury, bleeding from the hole in his chest. He wasn't too far from breathing his last. Chapter 66. Guilt. Brother Zhou. Shui Ningxiang was on Zhuo Fan with a cry and turned him over to see the fist-sized wound in his chest which went all the way through his back. His face paled by the second and his temperature dropped. Tears welled in Shui Ningxiang's eyes and fell along with her anxious voice. "Brother Zhou, wake up, wake up." Perhaps it was the soft tears or the incessant shouts grating on his ears that made Zhuo Fan crack his eyelids. "Brother Zhou, you're awake." Shui Ningxiang was glad. Zhuo Fan moved his lips but was too weak to even let out words. Watching her tear-stained face, Zhuo Fan took a deep breath and squeezed his last drop of energy into pointing. But his hand soon fell limp. Shui Ningxiang caught his gesture and saw Blood Infant in a pool of blood. "You want me to bring it over?" she asked. Zhuo Fan blinked weakly, the only thing he could do in his current state. Shui Ningxiang thus marched to Blood Infant and was soon back with it in her arms. She then placed it on the hole in Zhuo Fan's chest. Blood Infant flashed red and was back in Zhuo Fan's body. He let out a breath as his complexion started improving slightly. His and Blood Infant's lives were shared, so much so that its wound was far more important than his own injury. As long as Blood Infant was fine, him suffering heavy wounds would matter little. But now Blood Infant's life hung by a thread. Without his blood essence, he could only keep it alive for a short while longer. He was in a worse condition too and had no way to save it. But as Blood Infant was kept alive, a bit of energy returned to him. "Be blood," Zhuo Fan whispered hoarsely. Shui Ningxiang paused a moment, then cut her wrist with a dagger and brought her hand to Zhuo Fan's lips. The girl's blood dripped in Zhuo Fan's mouth and he slowly recovered a bit more energy. Shui Ningxiang let out a relieved sigh and even sported a faint smile. But Zhuo Fan suddenly bit her wrist, sucking the blood out. Shui Ningxiang braced through the pain and let him have his fill. Time passed but Zhuo Fan's appetite didn't drop. Shui Ningxiang's face paled and was even getting woozy. She knew it was from the blood loss but she didn't stop him. When Zhuo Fan finally let go and gasped for fresh air, He saw Shui Ningzhang's pale countenance and felt complicated. Thank you. Zhuo Fan now had the strength to speak. Thanks to the blood. Shui Ningxiang smiled. She was feeling weak, but her smile looked mesmerizing to Zhuo Fan. Recalling his previous act, his heart began to feel guilt. With a thought, a blue bottle flashed in his hand. Ninger, these are third-grade heart-protecting pills. Give me one. You take the second and give the third to the kid if he isn't dead. Shui Ningxiang nodded and fed the first pill to him. She checked Xie Tianyang and found him alive. Excited, she fed him a pill but saved hers. Zhuo Fan was laid on the ground, but his heart was clear. Ninger, you are also hurt. Why aren't you taking it? Ninger shook her head. It's only a scratch. This pill is too precious and it's better used on you too. Ha ha ha. Not in the least. It came from Veiled Dragon Pavilion anyway. So don't worry. Zhuo Fan smiled. He came to Allbeast Mountain Range prepared. Not only in spirit stones but also in pills. Since the Imperial family and Veiled Dragon Pavilion were providing the Luo clan with stuff, he had everything besides the truly rare pills. Some of his pills were something not found even in the entire Tianyu Empire. Refined by yours truly. I didn't think I'd use them so fast. Ninger, take it, it's yours. A snort came and Shui Ningxiang turned towards Xie Tianyang. He was also worse for wear. Not life-threatened like Zhuo Fan, but he couldn't move still. He would need 3 to 5 months to heal. Zhuo Fan couldn't budge, but neither could he. Even so, his fear of Zhuo Fan wasn't that high and said with a clipped tone. Ninger, this big brother Zhou wanted to use you as bait from the start. This is his just desserts. When Zhuo Fan exposed his plan, she was already unconscious in the Thunder Flame Gale prison explosion. But hearing it now, she was startled and looked at Zhuo Fan with the hope that he'd deny. She refused to believe that brother Zhou, who stood by her side for over a month, would be so cruel as to throw her away. She hoped this was a misunderstanding, that Zhuo Fan would refute Xie Tianyang's claims. But Zhuo Fan remained silent, and his cold eyes refused to meet hers for the first time. With tears welling, Shui Ningxiang forced her sorrow down, but her heart felt like it was being stabbed with a knife. She didn't realize when, but Zhuo Fan meant a lot to her. She didn't feel hate for being cast out, but pain. Sensing her pain, Zhuo Fan hesitated. Ninger, it's fine, you don't need to say anything. Shui Ningxiang wiped her nose and forced a smile. I know brother Zhou is brave and smart. That all went according to your plan. I'm sure it's a misunderstanding. She whipped her head around and left. I'm going to look for branches and make a stretcher. We can't keep staying here. Watching her walk away like nothing had happened, Xie Tianyang rose an eyebrow. Hey, Ninger, you're going to forgive him just like that? He is hurt and can't move. Now's your chance for revenge. Yet Shui Ningxiang didn't return. Xie Tianyang wanted to yell again, but then Zhuo Fan's snort came. Zip it, if you want to die. Just ask. Humph, you have it worse than me. Let's see you try. Xie Tianyang put up a tough front, but fear gnawed his heart because of the naked killing intent laced in Zhuo Fan's words. Seeing with his own eyes how Zhuo Fan had fought the seventh elder, he knew the horror Zhuo Fan could unleash. Despite losing, Zhuo Fan played with that insidious demon to such a state. He felt both fear and hatred towards Zhuo Fan. Hate for his unfeeling heart to his friends and fear from his cunning mind. But then a new feeling triumphed them both. Something the genius disciple of Sword Marquise of Bode never felt before. Shui Ningxiang was soon back with wood and made 2 stretchers. When she placed them both on each, Zhuo Fan wanted to apologize but swallowed his words when he saw her avoiding him. Rumble. With a thunderclap, the rain started pouring down on the ashen forest and helped the saplings grow. Shui Ningxiang tied the stretchers with rope and trudged through the mud. Because of the heavy rain, the rough mountain path, and the blood loss, she fell down again and again. But she pressed on like a machine, dragging them ever forward. The 3 never spoke a word the entire time. Even Xie Tianyang's complaints about taking revenge fell silent. The 2 felt worse and worse the more they saw Shui Ningzhang's pale face as she pulled them. Xie Tianyang was the first to mention casting her away for being weak. Zhuo Fan went a step further by rejecting the idea in a dignified manner, only to throw her out as bait not much later. And now, the two were in dire straits, useless for months to come. But Shui Ningzhang's heart remained steady and firm, never abandoning them. The two felt heavy in their hearts from the huge debt they had for her. How can we ever repay it? On the muddy and slick mountain road, a bump appeared and the burrowing mouse revealed itself. It ran towards Shui Ningxiang as soon as it came out. Now that she saw the little guy, her smile came back on her face, since losing it when she found of Zhuo Fan's betrayal. Afraid of the critter suffering, she drove it away before their fight with the seventh elder. But now it came back. The little guy was jumping around her leg in joy, then skipped ahead of her. Shui Ningxiang guessed that it was showing the way and dragged the stretchers to a cave. Happy, she pulled the two people into the cave for sheltering from the rain and healing their wounds. But Zhuo Fan looked around once and shouted in panic, "We can't stay here, we have to leave now." Chapter 67, Heaven-Shaking Roar. Shui Ningxiang turned to Zhuo Fan with a start. Zhuo Fan spoke while gazing at the weeds around the cave. "That is soothing grass. That's perfect. It can help relieve fatigue. What is wrong with that?" Xie Tianyang asked. Zhuo Fan said, annoyed, "That's true for humans, but for spiritual beasts, it has a calming effect that attracts nearby spiritual beasts." Xie Tianyang was anxious. "That means, trap?" Zhuo Fan nodded. "Yes, a trap made by predators. The burrowing mouse was drawn here and led us right to it." "Curses. You can just bury your head and run. But we'll have to suffer. Why had I taken you in any way?" Xie Tianyang snapped at the critter. He wasn't as brash usually, but he was now hurt and powerless to resist an attack. In this grim state, falling in a trap was the last straw. To escape from the seventh elder yet die in a beast's trap was something this genius disciple couldn't accept. The burrowing mouse squeaked a few times with a lowered head. Shui Ningxiang hugged it to her chest and spoke softly to Zhuo Fan. "What do we do now?" She had ill feelings towards Zhuo Fan, but she always turned to him for help when the going got tough. "What else? Run!" Xie Tianyang cut him off. Zhuo Fan asked hastily, "What time is it?" Shui Ningxiang looked outside the cave, but the rain clouds blocked the sky. She shook her head. "I'm not sure. A day must have passed by now." "Damn," Zhuo Fan said gravely. "The energy-concealing pill must have worn off and we are now easy targets. I'm guessing beasts must be coming here in droves." "What?" Xie Tianyang jumped. "You said, droves?" Zhuo Fan nodded. "The truly strong spiritual beasts don't stoop so low to use this trick. Only low-level spiritual beasts place traps and move in packs." Just then, along with the sound of rain, the roars of beasts echoed, and several pairs of cruel eyes fixed on the cave's mouth. A rough look would spot around 1,000 heads. Bloodthirsty wolves. Zhuo Fan sighed. "We're finished." Bloodthirsty wolves are second-level spiritual beasts, but with their numbers, they must have a third-level wolf king among them. Not even a fourth-level spiritual beast would dare to mess with them. Xie Tianyang saw the faint green eyes getting ever closer. "Woe is me. Heaven must be jealous of my outstanding talent and wants to pluck me." Shui Ningxiang looked worried while Zhuo Fan had his trademark unflappable expression. "Xie Tianyang," Zhuo Fan said, "give your sword to Ninger." "Ninger?" Xie Tianyang didn't understand. "My star sword may be a 4th-grade spiritual weapon, but Ninger is in the qi condensation stage. It's not enough to deal with those savage beasts." He spoke of the difference in cultivation and leveled his eyes at Zhuo Fan. "She isn't like you, fighting bone tempering and profound heaven experts while in qi condensation stage." Zhuo Fan smiled. "Ninger won't be fighting the beasts, but escaping their encirclement." He took out a bottle from his ring but didn't have the strength to lift it. "Ninger, take this energy-concealing pill." Zhuo Fan spoke calmly. "Use it to leave all Beast Mountain range once you break the encirclement. But don't go to your clan. Leave the city." Xie Tianyang now understood Zhuo Fan's plan, so he too took out his star sword. Their debt to Ninger was too great, and at this point, they were nothing but dead weights. Seeing their firm gazes, Shui Ningxiang took the sword and ran outside. Both Xie Tianyang and Zhuo Fan revealed a smile, feeling a weight being lifted off their chests. This way, we can repay her kindness. Even if we die, we can do it free of regrets. Xie Tianyang mumbled. Zhuo Fan spoke blandly. I don't care about returning favors. Just felt unwilling to die like this. I just don't want this girl to keep looking after me. Humph, how cold-hearted, Xie Tianyang snapped. After that short banter, the two were at peace, waiting for the bloodthirsty wolves to devour them. But then wails came, followed by blood splattering on both of them. When they looked towards the mouth of the cave, they were shocked to see Shui Ningxiang standing guard at the entrance. Some bloodthirsty wolves were circling around trying to enter but were cut down by her. With her standing guard and this being the only entrance, the wolves were kept at bay. Ninger, what are you doing? Zhuo Fan shouted. Shui Ningxiang slashed and 3 more wolves fell. She looked back with a shy smile. See, with me standing here, they will never get in. Idiot, those are nothing but cannon fodder. The Wolf King wouldn't care if they died. He's trying to tire you out before killing you. Zhuo Fan cursed, but his eyes were filled with worry. Shui Ningxiang smiled. That Wolf King is a beast uncaring for his pack. But you are my most important friends. I won't abandon you. She killed another 2 incoming wolves. Because of the blood loss and the fatigue of carrying the 2, she felt weak and pale. She was shaking with the wind and seemed like she might collapse any second. Yet her eyes were headstrong. Shui Ningxiang slashed, again and again, piling wolf corpses at her feet in a pool of blood. Her brows were drenched, her breathing haggard, her arms numb, but her back remained straight against the incoming storm. Watching her frail body, Zhuo Fan's eyes filled with warmth. He closed his eyes, not wishing to see the end as pain laced his heart. Zhuo Fan. Xie Tianyang yelled, I just realized, we're both damn bastards. Zhuo Fan groaned a response. Xie Tianyang looked over to Shui Ningxiang braving outside and he also closed his eyes. Ah! Shui Ningxiang let out a cry as a wolf bit her wrist when her strength failed her. It then pinned her to the ground. Then another wolf pounced on her other hand. She wanted to get up and keep fighting but felt too weak to move. She had surpassed the limits of her body long ago and was now powerless to deal with 2 weak wolves. She couldn't even feel the blood flowing out from the bite wounds on her hands. Zhuo Fan and Xie Tianyang knew this was going to happen but kept their eyes closed. They wanted to be spared from the sight of the girl getting mauled. While 2 wolves pinned her arms, the rest were closing in as Shui Ningxiang's breathing grew faint. If they could, the 2 in the cave would have covered their ears. In celebration of a successful hunt, the pack howled and the Wolf King, 3 times bigger than the rest, strutted before Shui Ningxiang. Licking its fangs, the Wolf King howled and opened its maw to ravage Shui Ningxiang. With her eyes blacking out, all she could see were vague shapes. Zhuo Fan and Xie Tianyang still had their eyes closed. Roar! Just as the Wolf King was about to bite her, a sudden roar echoed from deep within the All-Beast mountain range. Zhuo Fan and Xie Tianyang blacked out the moment it reached them. The 1,000 bloodthirsty wolves pack collapsed one after the other, with only the Wolf King staggering from fear. But before it could retreat, a flame swept over the wolves, not even leaving ash behind. Even the Wolf King couldn't survive and disappeared from this world. Unbelievable enough, Zhuo Fan's party survived unharmed, though unconscious. Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan vaguely heard someone calling him and opened his eyes. What is with this foggy place? Where am I? He looked around. But then it occurred to him. He was heavily wounded, so how could he move? Suddenly, 2 blue flames ignited. It fused together to reveal a burning blue-robed figure floating high above. Is your name Zhuo Fan? I heard the 2 kids call you as such. The figure smiled. His voice fit a sturdy middle-aged man, but it wasn't clear from his appearance. Zhuo Fan was suspicious. Who are you? You don't need to know. The figure replied. This is my domain, and here, I ask the questions. Zhuo Fan, why have you come to All-Beast Mountain Range? The blue figure asked. Zhuo Fan thought for a moment. To capture a spiritual beast and make it my demonic creature. What spiritual beast? 6th level spiritual beast, Thunder Skylark. Why? Zhuo Fan's eyes swiveled. Why else? To increase my power. Boom. A loud noise resounded and Zhuo Fan felt like his head was about to explode. Ha ha ha, the figure laughed. Boy, we are inside your consciousness. It's easy for me to tell when you lie. Zhuo Fan looked at the figure in fear. He could enter others' consciousness on his own. Such power went beyond radiant stage, maybe even above the mortal domain. Are you from the sacred domain? Zhuo Fan gasped. He never thought that it was possible to run into a sacred domain's expert in the mortal domain. The figure was also surprised that Zhuo Fan knew about sacred domain and nodded. You aren't normal to know of sacred domain. To apply ancient arrays and refine the blood infant. Zhuo Fan was shocked to find that all his actions were monitored. This man even knew of blood infant. Matters regarding patriarch blood demon were decades old and very few people knew of them even in the sacred domain. If he hadn't stumbled upon the 9 Serenities Secret Records, he would be none the wiser. But, who exactly are you? I said it before, only I ask the questions here. The figure replied coldly. Why do you want the Thunder Skylark? Speak the truth. Zhuo Fan was pensive, but found no way out. I want to go to Lightning Canyon and search for the Heavenly Sovereign's remnant. For that, I need the Thunder Skylark to block the purple lightning. What? The blue figure never anticipated such an answer, but laughed in glee. Ha ha ha. Good, great even. That is a good place. You should definitely go. The figure vanished and popped right in front of Zhuo Fan's face. Zhuo Fan was startled but didn't pick up any bad intentions from him. The figure then tapped Zhuo Fan's forehead and a blue flame seeped in. Zhuo Fan only felt gentle energy from his forehead. Ha ha ha. Boy, we are fated, so here's a gift. I hope you can help me in the future. The figure was gone but his words rang in Zhuo Fan's ears. You can find the Thunder Skylark 3,000 miles into the third area. Do your best to catch it. Chapter 68, Between Life and Death. Wait. Zhuo Fan sat up with a start. A ray of sunshine shone through the cave's mouth and forced him to cover his eyes. To his surprise, he found that he could actually move. Although still weak, he was mostly recovered. Inspecting himself in detail, he found the blood infant laying depressed in his dantian, but its life was no longer hanging by a thread. Even its eyes were trembling, on the verge of waking up. Being shocked was an understatement. Zhuo Fan knew the expert he met last night was someone who rose above the mortal domain. Or he wouldn't have had the ability to heal his wounds overnight along with blood infants. But why did he choose me? Zhuo Fan rubbed his forehead, recalling that the man had planted something there, but his weak self didn't allow him to see clearly what it was. He shook his head in the end. It doesn't matter. Anyway, he saved me. Whatever his reasons are, I will figure them out sooner or later. With his current strength, what could he do against that man? Mocking himself, he realized that he was overthinking things sometimes. It had to do with the fact that he was in the 6th layer of chi condensation with the heart of an emperor stage expert. What a pain. So, his current objective was to boost his strength. The strong had the final say in everything. He sighed as he looked at the incoming sunshine. Despite the somber feeling exuding from the burned trees, the sun brought a ray of hope. A groan interrupted his musing and Zhuo Fan found Shui Ningzhang's weak figure in a pool of blood. He rushed to her and fed a heart-protecting pill. A gentle yuan qi traveled within her body and Zhuo Fan breathed easy. The girl's wounds were only skin deep. She had overused her yuan qi in her fight against the bloodthirsty wolves and needed just a few days to recover. But the pale face of Shui Ningxiang brought another wave of worry in his heart. He then started to remove the dirt from her face. Feeling his rough hand, Shui Ningxiang cracked her eyes open and showed a sweet smile. Brother Zhou, are we dead? Rest easy. We are alive and well. Liar, how are you able to move when you were so hurt? Shui Ningxiang mumbled, but at least we died together. And the girl faded into unconsciousness at the last word. Zhuo Fan watched her peaceful expression and carried her inside the cave to lay her next to the soothing grass. It was the best item for relieving fatigue for humans. Now he was standing beside the unconscious Xie Tianyang, with a not-so-friendly face. Yo, get up, I say. Zhuo Fan kicked him lightly. Twice for good measure, but he was still as a rock. Zhuo Fan sneered and swung his leg way back before kicking with enough oomph on Xie Tianyang's ass. Ah! A wail that shook the heavens and the forest was heard. It even frightened the spiritual beasts around. I say, what's with this ghastly yell? Trying to wake the heavens? The Allbeast mountain range doesn't lack dreadful monsters, you know. Xie Tianyang shivered as he reined in his tears. What is this place? What did I ever do to deserve such cruelty even in death? Is kicking once cruel? You, a sword marquise abode young master, have seen nothing yet. Zhuo Fan smiled at Xie Tianyang's shocked face. Xie Tianyang was startled seeing Zhuo Fan. Did you kick me? Why the hell? We clearly died together. So why can you hit me? Zhuo Fan grinned. If we're dead, all of us would be equals. Too bad. We are alive and kicking. And since you weren't moving? What? We're alive? Xie Tianyang stopped listening after that and laughed. Ha ha ha. It's the same cave. We are alive. But then his mood soured, eyeing Zhuo Fan up and down before yelling. Why are you able to move while I can't? You had it far worse than me and your cultivation is weaker too. Zhuo Fan shrugged and perked an eyebrow, exasperating the self-entitled genius disciple. Xie Tianyang's lip quivered as he wailed in frustration. Freak. Not for the life of him could he comprehend how Zhuo Fan was jumping around after having his life hanging by a thread just 2 days ago. Even he, a bone-tempering expert, would need 2 months of recovery to be able to stand. He was vexed enough knowing that Zhuo Fan was stronger than him. Despite their realm difference, and better skilled than him. Despite their differences in background. Now though, this damn punk showed a miracle. Jumping back on his feet in no time at all. How can one even bloody compare? It's like being left light years behind. Zhuo Fan, tell me the truth, who the heck are you? Xie Tianyang spat. Zhuo Fan lost his smile and patted Xie Tianyang's shoulder. Human of course, though just slightly above average. Xie Tianyang was pissed off by Zhuo Fan's attitude, but his bad state didn't help him vent. And even if he could move, Zhuo Fan's array would just splatter him into pieces. This made bitter tears flow down his cheeks. A genius disciple's pride was crushed completely. Nonetheless, Zhuo Fan moving about had its upside. He could set up an array to defend them. Xie Tianyang had nothing to say to that. It brought far more advantage with Zhuo Fan recovered than if it was him instead. His cultivation only helped protect himself in such a place, let alone others. Spirit stones flew out of his ring and Zhuo Fan set up an ancient first-grade concealing array. At that moment, the cave disappeared from this place and not even a 6th-level spiritual beast would find it even if they passed through. The trio could finally heal in peace. Shui Ningxiang woke up 3 days later and was wild with joy knowing that they weren't dead. Then she wondered where those wolves went and why they didn't eat the trio. Xie Tianyang was unclear about this too, but Zhuo Fan frowned, finding it tied to the expert he met in his consciousness. It was in this manner the trio recouped for 3 months. Zhuo Fan was back to full health while Xie Tianyang could now exert 70% of his power. Shui Ningxiang recovered long ago and spent her time playing with the burrowing mouse. Both of them were happy seeing her smile again, thinking of her like a little sister. Shui Ningxiang too started to feel more dependent on the two. Whoosh! 100 meters away from the cave, Xie Tianyang hacked a rock as he smiled towards Shui Ningxiang not far away. He clearly recovered to 80%. Shui Ningxiang clapped excitedly alongside the burrowing mouse. Zhuo Fan walked over with a smile. Nice power you have there. You should enter the 8th layer of bone tempering stage soon. Didn't you also enter the 7th layer of qi condensation after your wounds healed? Xie Tianyang clipped. Besides, Zhuo Fan, how can your eyes be that good? To detect me breaking through before I do? Shui Ningxiang waved her hand to placate them. Why are you always arguing when you meet each other? You weren't like this before. Isn't it his fault? Xie Tianyang stuck out his chest and cursed Zhuo Fan. After all this time, I still can't forgive this brat for using Ninger as bait. How can I not be pissed? What arguing? I'm itching to give him a beating. Pot calling the kettle black. Who was it that said to dump her and stall the 7th elder? Zhuo Fan countered. I never. Xie Tianyang was at a loss, but soon recovered his courage. I didn't know Ninger was so great. Alright? Moreover, it's far better than being used as bait. I'm a demonic cultivator. It's normal to be more immoral than a righteous cultivator like you. Immoral? You're a bloody criminal by comparison? Ellipsis. Seeing Zhuo Fan and Xie Tianyang quarreling over her, Shui Ningxiang gestured for them to stop. Come on, don't argue. It's all in the past. I don't care anymore, so why are you bringing it up? No, I want to give you justice. Xie Tianyang grabbed her shoulders while glaring at the smiling Zhuo Fan. It's all right. We are friends who braved through life and death together. It's water under the bridge. Shui Ningxiang showed a smile at the two and extended a pinky. Xie Tianyang smiled wryly and was hesitant in extending his pinky. But he did nonetheless. He was followed by an indifferent Zhuo Fan. The three pinkies touched and they started to feel warm and fuzzy inside. Finding a close friend in life was hard. But finding one to brave death alongside oneself was even harder. From now on, they would never abandon each other. No matter what, Zhuo Fan suspected he'd be hard-pressed to find any closer friends in this life. As they took back their respective fingers, Zhuo Fan smiled. Now that we have recovered, we will each go our own way. Startled, the two didn't understand why he'd say this. Zhuo Fan shook his head. Sorry, that was my mistake. I want to leave. Xie Tianyang, I'm afraid I can't take her out of the city. Help her in my stead. Brother Zhou, where are you going? Shui Ningxiang felt nervous. Zhuo Fan replied with a determined tone. The third area. What? Xie Tianyang and Shui Ningxiang shouted. At first we wanted to avoid the seventh elder by going there. But why would you still want to go? Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed with guilt. To be honest, it was my objective from the start. I wanted to go together because you were useful. Bastard, you wanted more baits? Xie Tianyang cursed. Zhuo Fan nodded. Yes, so if you don't want to die, run along. The farther from me the better. As he replied, Zhuo Fan turned to leave. Wait. Shui Ningxiang pulled his hand with a shy smile. Brother Zhou, if you don't consider me as a burden, take me with you, even if I were to become bait. It is all right as long as I can stay with you. Zhuo Fan was startled and his heart throbbed. Xie Tianyang advised, Hey, Ninger, this guy's no good. But Shui Ningxiang's gentle eyes only had Zhuo Fan in them, and so Xie Tianyang also reluctantly chose to put his hands together with theirs. Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow. You too want to follow me? Yes. Xie Tianyang felt lifeless. But don't misunderstand. I'm not coming to help you but to make sure you don't betray Ninger. Zhuo Fan smiled. With how smart you are, I might go and betray you both. But he didn't voice it. Meeting the two of them could be considered as his fortune. Friends in life and death were hard to find. Chapter 69, Savage Clash. The forest in Allbeast mountain range's third area was so thick it blotted out the sun. It was also packed with vicious spiritual beasts that roared at any passing moment. It painted such a gruesome picture that it struck terror in any who were intent in setting foot inside. Suddenly, a low bush stirred despite the lack of wind. Zhuo Fan's party stuck to the ground as they crawled, making use of the bushes as cover. They did take energy concealing pills. But unlike the previous areas, if any spiritual beast saw them here, it spelled doom. As such, this was the only viable way to advance, moving at a crawl 3.000 miles inland. With each roar and cry, fear struck, soaking their brows with sweat. Blast it, we'll never get anywhere crawling like this. After half a day of wiggling through 10 miles, Xie Tianyang complained and sat with arms crossed. I'm not doing it anymore. It's too lame. Besides, you think a 5th level spiritual beast lies at every corner? Fool, get down before it's too late. Zhuo Fan cursed. Xie Tianyang smirked in disdain. How will that help? With how tall the fauna is here, you think they'll spot us at a glance? Roar. In reply to his disdain, a reverberating roar deafened the trio. They turned to see 5 towering trees being pushed to the ground. A 50-meter-tall black bear appeared. Seeing its meal, the black bear roared with bared fangs and bloodthirsty eyes. 4th level spiritual beast, Mad Storm Bear. Zhuo Fan cried as the trio shook in fear. Xie Tianyang was even rooted in place. Before the bear could jump on its prey, a tail as thick as a bucket coiled around its body. The bear was squeezed and thrown into the heavens above as its pitiful cry grew faint. When it came back down, a maw opened wide and swallowed it whole. As the maw closed, blood sprayed in the surroundings, forming a pool beneath it. Even Zhuo Fan felt a shiver of fear. That was a 30-meter-long python with a scarlet crest and rock-hard scales. Its cold eyes flashed, on the prowl for the next meal. 5th level spiritual beast, Diamond Crest Python. Run! Zhuo Fan yelled as he sped up his crawling, and the other two worked to catch up. Even Xie Tianyang disregarded his sorry state and crawled with them. He came face to face to the horrors of this area. One slip and he was a goner. It was plainly obvious why even a radiant stage expert would die here. When the Diamond Crest Python ate the bear, because of its bulk, it didn't notice the trio and left after its meal. Damn you, Zhuo Fan, I must have been insane for agreeing to come with you to this hell. Xie Tianyang worked his all not only to crawl but also to complain on and on. Afraid he would soon lose his life without venting. He was on the verge of tears. He had heard this place was savage, but not to this extent. If he'd tried to even stand taller than waist height, he'd soon find danger setting its sights on him. Zhuo Fan mocked. No one told you to come. Why don't you crawl your way back? Xie Tianyang was looking at the sky. Curses. The sun is setting. Nocturnal spiritual beasts will be on the hunt soon. And crawling won't work against them. I'll be dead in a second. Better stick to Zhuo Fan. He would set up an array and no spiritual beast would wander in. Annoyed, Xie Tianyang had an edge in his voice. Since I'm in the same boat as you, once I wander back it will be plain suicide. Zhuo Fan and Shui Ningxiang shook their heads. Then the trio's schedule was crawling by day and ducking under an array at night. And after a month they finally crawled through 3.000 miles till their limbs and waist went sore. The good news was that the closer they got, the fewer the spiritual beasts spotted. Zhuo Fan knew they entered the territory of those 6th level spiritual beasts, where no weaker beast would dare step a paw in. In the 3rd area, 6th level spiritual beasts were kings. If they found some oblivious beastie wandering into their domain, they'd chase it even for 1,000 miles, all to preserve a king's dignity. Especially if humans were involved. Stretching and exhaling, Zhuo Fan felt a bit better. Despite his relaxed manner, Xie Tianyang had his eyes peeled as he cautiously rose to his feet. We can stand here? Zhuo Fan nodded with a smile. On our way here, there were too many eyes and ears on the lookout for any movement, so we crawled to avoid the spiritual beasts. Here though is the domain of 6th level spiritual beasts. Hiding will be much more effective than crawling in this place. Xie Tianyang finally found safety for the first time in a month and smiled. So it's much safer here than other places? Zhuo Fan arched an eyebrow. You can say that, but we'll die even faster bumping into a 6th level spiritual beast. Xie Tianyang's smile vanished and his tone held some bite. Then what the hell are we doing here? Tame them? How? Zhuo Fan smiled with confidence. He had considered this point a long time ago. He came to such a deadly place as the 3rd area with a plan. He only needed to slip a bloodworm into the Thunder Skylark and all was well. But the problem was how. Rumble. Zhuo Fan was cooking up a plan when a sudden noise shook the world. The trio felt the earth shaking beneath their feet. They blinked in shock. This had to be from another devastating clash of spiritual beasts. But throughout their crawling, never had they heard a sound so loud. Not even when 2 5th level spiritual beasts fought. There could only be one answer. 6th level spiritual beasts, they shouted in unison. It seems to be coming from that direction. Zhuo Fan ran straight for it while Xie Tianyang yelled nervously. Those beasts will tear you to pieces. Zhuo Fan smirked. If one of them was the Thunder Skylark, it'd be perfect. He'd lay in wait and make use of the perfect opportunity to strike. Shui Ningxiang remained quiet and followed him closely. Wherever Zhuo Fan went, she would be close by. So, Xie Tianyang had no choice but to join them. 15 minutes later, The trio heard a thunderclap in the sky and the roaring flames. The three huddled behind a large rock in a small valley and peeked above. But the sight took their breath away. Two spiritual beasts flew high up. Both 6th-level spiritual beasts. One was a deep blue-colored bird with a 15-meter-long body and a wingspan of 20 meters. Lightning traveled along its body as it cracked the air. Despite being smaller in size, even compared with a 5th-level spiritual beast, its every wing beat covered the sky in lightning and wind blades that struck the rocks in the valley to pieces. A 5th-level spiritual beast would be crushed by such display. Thunder Skylark. Zhuo Fan squinted. He didn't lie to me. Thunder Skylark's nest is here. He then turned to the other spiritual beast. It was a flying lion wreathed in scarlet flames. Its mane was on fire and it had 30-meter-long wings of flames, half as long as its body. A flap of its wings sent fire to engulf the skies and burn the whole valley to a crisp. 6th-level spiritual beast. Flaming Lion King. Zhuo Fan's heart tightened. The Flaming Lion King was as powerful as a 7th-level spiritual beast, putting the Thunder Skylark at a disadvantage. He had thought that if the Thunder Skylark was tangled with another 6th-level spiritual beast, he'd play the fisherman and make the bird swallow a bloodworm during the confusion. Pity that it was facing a Flaming Lion King. The Thunder Skylark would likely be defeated and killed. But wouldn't that bore a large hole in his plans? No, I had to help it. But how? This savage battle is no different than a Radiant stage expert's fight. Getting involved will only get me killed. Boom. As Zhuo Fan was musing a plan, the two beasts clashed again. Flaming Lion King spat a fireball while Thunder Skylark sent a thunderstorm with a flap of its wings, intending to crush it. But then, Flaming Lion King rammed its huge body into the frail Thunder Skylark. The bird cried out and tumbled around in the air. Zhuo Fan secretly sighed. Sure enough, the Thunder Skylark was just as adept at using her attribute like the Flaming Lion King. But her body lacked power in contrast. It would die if this went on. Big brother Zhou, can you help the poor birdie? Shui Ningxiang turned her puppy eyes to him. Zhuo Fan was this close to spewing blood. Birdie? Well, it does belong to the swallow type. But it's a spiritual beast nonetheless. Regardless, just how exactly is that thing small? But Shui Ningxiang's pleas echoed his thoughts. The Thunder Skylark must survive. Chapter 70. Divine Azure Flame. Ninger, we can't just interfere in a battle of 6th-level spiritual beasts. Shui Ningxiang felt regret the moment she spoke up. Over these few months, Xie Tianyang never refused any of her wishes. Ignoring the fact that our strength is not nearly enough. Just from how fiercely these 6th-level spiritual beasts are clashing, one can tell it is not over food, but territory. You couldn't interfere even if they were people. Not knowing who is wrong or right, we can't just risk our lives for them. Zhuo Fan lifted an eyebrow as he gave Xie Tianyang a deeper look. In the end, he comes from the 7 houses and knows what battles between great powers imply. If I didn't need the Thunder Skylark so badly, I wouldn't get involved either. But Shui Ningxiang's expression was filled with worry. But that birdie isn't fighting over territory. It's to protect her young. Zhuo Fan looked again and saw a nest below the Thunder Skylark holding 5 huge eggs. Flaming Lion King was powerful enough, but the Thunder Skylark's speed was astonishing. It could leave just like that if it wanted to. But the Lion King caught it between a rock and a hard place, battering it again and again until it was filled with wounds, all because it was worried about harming her eggs. Now that Zhuo Fan got the whole picture, he hatched a plan to help the Thunder Skylark. She is one big mother. Zhuo Fan sighed. Ninger, worry not. See how I get that birdie out of trouble. Shui Ningxiang became overjoyed while Xie Tianyang was skeptical. Hypocrite, since when were you so selfless? This guy has a callous heart and betrays his friends at the drop of a hat. Since when did he start sticking his head out for someone else? A savage beast no less? Oh, Xie Tianyang, how can you understand me? I am in fact a man with love in his heart. Wait for a bit, I will need your help soon. Screw you, if you have love, I'm a saint, Xie Tianyang retorted in derision. But then he said in shock, "I got it, you want the Thunder Skylark?" Zhuo Fan perked an eyebrow and nodded. "Ha ha ha, you've started using your head more since teaming up with me. Curses, I almost got used by you." Again, Xie Tianyang spat. "If you want to get the Thunder Skylark, leave me out of it." Zhuo Fan shrugged, then gave Shui Ningxiang a long look. Shui Ningxiang nodded and showed her doe eyes as she shook Xie Tianyang's arm. "Big brother Xie, go with big brother Zhou. The birdie and her young are so pitiful." Xie Tianyang felt like crying. "The birdie is pitiful? One flap from it will tear me apart. Why aren't you feeling sorry for me?" Lacking any choice in the matter, Xie Tianyang nodded. He was still feeling guilty for what happened to Shui Ningxiang and would agree to any of her requests. At his nod, Shui Ningxiang exploded into a sparkling smile and Zhuo Fan grinned at the side. "Zhuo Fan, watch it. If you throw me away, I will make you pay." Xie Tianyang glared, but Zhuo Fan just shook his head. "Take it easy. When I use someone, I make sure they won't ever get the chance to come back to bite me." "What?" Xie Tianyang exclaimed. Zhuo Fan just laughed and patted his shoulder. After warning Shui Ningxiang to hide and not get discovered, Zhuo Fan and Xie Tianyang sneaked towards the eggs. The two were able to sneak thanks to the energy-concealing pill. As the beasts raged, lightning and flames collided, rocking the valley like a boat. Zhuo Fan and Xie Tianyang crept up cautiously below the raging storm. Each time the boom drew closer, it gripped their hearts in a vice and soaked their brows with sweat. One stray fireball or lightning could become the end for them both. Luckily enough, they reached the eggs without a scratch. Below the Thunder Skylark, it was both the most dangerous and safest place. What now? Xie Tianyang looked above at the flashing figures engaged in a fierce battle. Zhuo Fan explained his plan with a smile. "While the Thunder Skylark isn't paying attention, we will hide the eggs. When it finds out that its eggs are gone, it will no longer fight and rush to search for its young. Since it is faster than the lion, we will thus save its life." "Good plan." Xie Tianyang spoke in a low voice and gave him a thumbs up. Zhuo Fan then indicated to lift the nest together. While the heavens were swept by a storm, two bandits were making away with the entire nest from right under everyone's noses. Seeing this, Shui Ningxiang sported a wide smile. Suddenly, Flaming Lion King gained altitude, breaking away from the bird while the Thunder Skylark kept a closer eye on its movements. As Zhuo Fan was carrying the nest, he found that the shadows on the ground were much bigger and that the sky had turned silent. Startled, he stopped and looked up. He was met with the large eyes of the Flaming Lion King. He also noticed that the lion's eyes were ridiculing him. Zhuo Fan shouted in panic, "That savage found us. Run!" "But the eggs?" Xie Tianyang was nervous. "What eggs? Just throw them." Ignoring Xie Tianyang, Zhuo Fan tossed the nest and the 5 eggs to the ground. Since they were spiritual beast eggs, they wouldn't break so easily. Startled by Zhuo Fan's yell, the Thunder Skylark looked in time to see her 5 young thrown on the ground and rushed in anger. Boom! Then, a ball of fire passed close to the Thunder Skylark. The Flaming Lion King wasn't aiming for it but the 5 eggs. With a cry, the Thunder Skylark flew like lightning and used her body to block the fireball. Zhuo Fan let out a mental sigh, not for Thunder Skylark's sacrifice, but the lion's cunningness. It knew that the Thunder Skylark was fast as lightning, which proved it difficult to land a heavy blow. But those eggs couldn't move and were the perfect means to cripple the Thunder Skylark's speed. Attacking what one defended was the best plan. The Flaming Lion King laughed in glee and spat another ball of flame. Thunder Skylark used her lightning to stop it, but, with the eggs scattered, another ball of fire was closing in on another egg. Thus she was forced to fly all over to defend them. The Flaming Lion King, which was hovering above, roared and sneered. "We made it worse. We hastened the Thunder Skylark's end." Darting back to Shui Ningxiang, Zhuo Fan sighed. Despite not liking it, he spoke with determination. "Let's go. If we wait for Thunder Skylark to die, the crazy lion will come after us." Zhuo Fan and Xie Tianyang grabbed Shui Ningxiang's arm, but she stood rooted to the spot. watching the thunder skylark darting to and fro as tears fell down her cheeks. Zhuo Fan sighed. He had no way to help the bird now. Let it go, Ninger. We need to leave. Zhuo Fan furrowed his brows and urged. But Shui Ningxiang shook her head. Boom. After fending off 24 fireballs, the thunder skylark let out a mournful cry and fell tired and wounded in a large crater. The flaming Lion King charged with its claw, aiming for the bird's throat. No. Shui Ningxiang broke away from the two's grasp and rushed to defend the thunder skylark. The cold wind from flaming Lion King's attack fanned her fine black hair. But her eyes remained unwavering. Zhuo Fan and Xie Tianyang rushed over, alarmed. Both forgot that they would soon be 2 more corpses added to the pile. That it wouldn't make a difference. Even Zhuo Fan lost his calculative mind. The 3 only knew to not abandon the other. Ninger, I will accompany you in death. Xie Tianyang roared as he threw himself in front of her. Zhuo Fan flashed in front of the 2, but his eyes were fixed on the flaming Lion King. He was the demonic emperor. Even in death, he would stare down his enemy. Dumb humans, your flesh won't stop this king's claw. The flaming Lion King opened its mouth and sneered. As its claw drew close, its killing intent made the trio shiver. But just when the claw was about to touch Zhuo Fan's face, an azure flame came out of Zhuo Fan's forehead and a shocking power shrouded the entire all-beast mountain range. The spiritual beasts were left shivering and lowered their proud heads. Even those fighting bent their knees. Flaming Lion King stopped its claw and watched the swaying flame as it trembled in fear. Translator. Star Reader.